Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far, with plenty of talk on exactly how Vanguard might play on a competitive level. Crimsix and Clayster also talking in quite some detail about exactly why the players union fell through. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, hitting the like button is the best thing you can do to help this channel grow. And please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Bottom right hand corner, you guys know the drill. Firstly, this from Parasite competing in challenges with Diamondcon, Exotic and Royalty. There was a lot of talk, at least I kind of speculated, could Parasite be deciding to retire from competing? I know he did say a lot last year that he wants to still be competing and maybe join Washington or something as kind of a part of their coaching talent. Tough to say, but he is going to continue competing. Diamondcon, Exotic and Royalty is going to be the squads. It's a pretty nasty one, no doubt. And well, we'll have to see, I suppose, whether Parasite goes through all the roster dramas that he's had this season, well, at least the past season, or whether that continues into future titles as well, especially this one, of course, in Vanguard. But good to see Parasite getting on a solid team to start things off. This also just as all I mentioned to you guys, Vanguard, when it comes out, this is the recommended competitive and like ultra RTX if you want to go crazy. The graphics for, well, exactly what you need, basically the specs for the PC version of Vanguard, saying if you want to play on a competitive level, you've got to need a decent CPU, you're going to need a decent GPU for sure. Like it reckons 5700 XT or above, 3060 Ti or 2070 above as well. So not all that easy to get your hands on nowadays. For just recommended settings, you don't need anything crazy, to be honest, in terms of the GPU CPU combo. So should be okay, should run reasonably well at 60 FPS in most situations. But yeah, for competitive players, this is probably what you're looking at if you guys want to pause and check the entire thing out. This then that the COD League tweeted out yesterday, since deleted, we'll go into exactly why they deleted it here in a second, or at least the updated version that they came out with. The Vanguard World Premiere is getting a bit of that CDL spice. I mean, look at this. They bring out the chili emoji. They really do learn for the best, these guys. Tune in November the 3rd to see celebrities, influencers, and CDL pros take the stage, and we can see Asim, Cellium, Arcitys, aBeZy, and Slasher, the 5 guys on screen right here. Now, they deleted this one November the 3rd and came up with this one, of course, November the 3rd being tomorrow. So there's a Vanguard World Premiere with some, and as you can see right here, celebrities, influencers, but also some pro players as well. So from our side of things, so we've got Migos here, like it's pretty entertaining, this, it looks like, at least. Cellium, aBeZy, Enable, Slasher, and we've got Maven here as well. I'm pretty sure, like, okay, we got special guests also, Zuma, Crowder, and Asim. So a lot of representation from the competitive Call of Duty scene. That is really cool to see. And well, this is happening 6 PM Pacific time on November the 3rd. Very soon indeed, we're going to see Vanguard going to get played by some of these guys. And I guess see an early representation of exactly how things are going to go. Courage and Maven here as well alongside T-Pain. So I don't know, exciting stuff, no doubt. I'm sure this is going to be a pretty good one. And yeah, hopefully the pros going to hold their own. I'm sure they're not going to have too many problems. Wanted to run through the 8th and the 7th players from Breaking Point's top 20 players. We're seriously counting down now towards the top 1. But anyway, CleanX gets number 8. I think this is probably very much well deserved. We saw yesterday what Hydra got, and you can see right here, like statistic wise, in terms of KD, nothing spectacular. But in terms of impact, like look at Slayer rating right here for an entry SMG, number 4 out of all the entry SMGs. Like I mean, it's not just his statistics, because we know that Cammy and Insight and even Bance at times put up crazy numbers, but it's more about I mean, look, his average placing was a 3 right here, because of course phenomenal results towards the end of the title. He was super impactful. I think people honestly underestimate CleanX and what he brought to this squad, and also a lot of teams were considering him, right? We saw, you know, even Kenny said the 100 Thieves, they looked at Los Angeles Thieves, looked at potentially bringing in CleanX, right, and seeing how that could have worked. I'm sure other organizations did the same. S&D KD against top 3 teams, insane. S&D KD on Express at 1.3, that's really impressive indeed, and hardpoint kill per 10 minutes on land at 24, so definitely some really impressive stats across the board from CleanX. Number 7 goes to Arcitys. This actually got a fair bit of controversy within the community, to be honest, because of course we know that the other 3 FaZe guys are going to be higher than Arcitys, and still he gets number 7. I think a lot of people would have put Arcitys lower than this. I'm pretty sure I put him somewhat lower than 7th, but you can see here on the right hand side, this is the rankings that the coaches gave him compared to, well, let's just say the content people. So I guess I'm included in content here. I'm not exactly sure where I put him, but you see like you know, Breaking Point guys, media guys putting him about 11th, but the coaches, the CDL coaches and the amateur coaches putting him almost like 5th or 6th. So giving Arcitys a lot of credit, which is certainly deservedly so. Then again, I feel like there's maybe a couple of other players you could have put in Arcitys' role that still would have got very similar success this year with the teammates he had, but I'm pretty sure he's the best man for the job over there, and I think this is, all things considered, not too bad. I mean, Arcitys at 7th, Scump at 11th, for example. Both of those, you know, if one's too high, maybe the other one's too high as well. You could probably look at it from that perspective. This also, as I thought was kind of funny, as Arcitys says in reply, put me at 35th. I don't want to get roasted, man. Look at Twitter, and I'm absolutely one-shot. Like, if you look at Twitter and Reddit, then Arcitys is probably not having a good time with some of the replies to this, and yeah, better now, like, we put him straight at 35. That's probably fair enough. But let's talk about the players' union then. So a lot of talk about this, right, the last couple of years, really, and especially back in August, at the end of August, there was some talk about exactly why the players' union fell through. And they were trying to form a players' union to have more power against the organizations, but also the league itself. Other esports have, CSGO has kind of successfully done it. It does happen to a degree in regular sports as well. And, as Clayster says right here back in August, tried to start a players' union, had 10 figurehead pros in an email chain. Nobody else wanted to step up to the plate, so it got chalked. I ain't doing all that work. Now, he goes into some detail here on the flank a couple of days ago, exactly pretty much what happened here, saying that, he was doing a lot of work in this email chain with the legal people, and then Crimsix chimed in and says, basically, the other pros, when they realised that this stuff doesn't have immediate impact, but also the fact that they had to put money in to pay the lawyers, they were like, yeah, I'm out of here, boys. The players' union, it's not happening.
Are you still interested in a players' union, Clay? You tried. I know you tried. I think pretty sure people just weren't answering you.
This came up a couple times, and I don't think I've actually talked about it on like a stream or something, and I definitely do not want it to seem like I'm throwing people under the bus, because that's not my intention at all. But we tried, and we got to a point where, a dozen of us kind of more vocal pros got together. Anyone who wanted to be on the call could have been on the call. I, extended the invitation. And I was kind of making introductions, kind of just connecting people in terms of like, hey, this is the guy who did the Counter-Strike Players Association. Let's have a, 2-hour talk with them and just kind of hear the pros and the cons and all the legwork involved in creating a players union and the benefits you could get from it, right? And kind of got stuff moving a little bit, got in touch with a law firm who specializes in this kind of thing. And I made it clear to everyone, like, hey, like, I'm putting in a lot of the work right now. Like, there was that petition thing, which a lot of people don't know about, where we were trying to raise minimum salaries and severance packages for cut pros. Year one, it was you had your full year paid. It was fully guaranteed contracts. And year two, they cut it down, and we managed to get them to raise it back up. There was a lot of stuff I was doing but I was making it clear, I was like, hey, once this starts, like, I'm not being like the union leader. I don't want to be like, I'm not doing all the legwork, right? I need everybody to like pitch in. And that was one of the biggest things, was they kept telling us, like, you're gonna have to spend a lot of like effort and time and money on this that you collect, and then you're not going to see the benefits, like real tangible benefits, for many years down the road. Like, this is something we start now, and then in 4 or 5 years it's super beneficial. During that email chain, like with the law firm, it kind of just died out, and it got to a point where it's like, hey guys, like, if anyone wants to respond to it, be my guest. It's the middle of the season, and everyone kind of just like let it go, right? And so we tried, and it just seemed like one of those things. It was going to be too much work for not any benefit right now. And
the moment money became involved, like the players, everyone had to pitch in, right? The interest just dropped.
Like union dues, what I'm saying?
Yeah. The interest just dropped.
Yeah,
man.
people didn't care.
Like, yeah, exactly. The moment, everyone had to pitch in, it was just gone.
So this was some discussion back in 2020 when Crimsix says 59 out of 60, which was hinted at the time about the fact that like all the players in the entire league wanted to get the players union up and going, because of course it was 5v5 at the time with 12 teams, that being 60 starting players. And Scump goes, I literally just told Clay Amid, so he was getting ready to go. I guess actually at this point it had gone back to 4 versus 4, but still I guess including substitutes, I guess it would be 60 still. But anyway, Scump was seemingly the last guy that had not yet accepted, and eventually Scump says, yeah, I'm down. But of course, when the email chains go through and people realize they've actually got to pay money, then maybe it falls a little bit shy, right? So definitely interesting to hear about that the players, it totally makes sense, right, on an individual level, but kind of a shame to see that the players, just because it doesn't necessarily affect them too much in the short term, and they've got to pay for the lawyers, decided, okay, yeah, it's not really our problem. Let's just leave, I guess, future generations of pro players to deal with this and actually fight for some of the situations that Clayster was discussing, actually, that they've done pretty well in the kind of not really a players union, but they still kind of have some power situation that they have at the moment, at least when they combine. Wanted to mention a few things from the Ghost of Hope as well about the Vanguard title, which is of course just around the corner. Some positive signs and some negative signs for the CDL. Firstly, this, looking at the 12 remaining core multiplayer maps, he was actually kind enough to send me the map overviews for all of these maps. And looking through them, some of them look suspect, don't get me wrong, but some of them look like they have kind of been designed for competitive play, which is a good sign. Like 3 lanes, kind of traditional stuff. You can look at some kind of map overviews and say, okay, that seems like it could work, even though I've no idea what the map actually looks like and what the elevation is like and stuff like this. So certain ones to me seemed obvious to be used in CDL, which of course is an exciting prospect. This is also interesting though. I'm surprised there's no trophy in Vanguard. Maybe the trophy is there and it just hasn't been noticed. Like, there's no guarantee, of course, that it is in the game. But I mean, still, maybe it's not in the game. We could have a World War II type situation where it's just nade spam all over the shop with no trophies. And of course, Sledgehammer made that game as well, so wouldn't be necessarily too surprised if that was the case. This also from Ghost of Hope talking about the sprint out times for some of the weapons in the game, and these seem pretty reasonable actually. So the SGG at 217 milliseconds, SMG's 167. So I think actually, all things considered, sprint to fire times relatively quick for the SMGs and the ARs. At least they're not incredibly slow. And just to finish off with this from Tommy, I've been given a captain spot for the $20,000 Vanguard Code Red tourney. This is kind of what we discussed, right? The fact that when the game launches, are they just going to be these kind of tourneys that go on here with their 3 current ex-CDL professionals? They bring in like all teams are captained by Warzone players. So it seems that they might be doing a very similar thing to last year, where these tourneys happen early on for a fair bit of money, and Warzone pros are the guys who are actually playing them, and they bring in some CDL pros and stuff like this, which kind of unfortunate, but hopefully we'll still get some tournaments with some of the top tier players competing in, and some of the actual rosters we're going to be seeing in next year's title. But very much intrigued to your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hitting the like button tells loads of YouTube overlords this is a good video. Other people like you should see it as well, and I've grown the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.
To the left, keep the pressure on.
Come on. I don't have all day for this.
Shots! What? Take shots!
Yo, do you think I'm cheating or no?